Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Raven here. Today we're going to read a short story from my short story and poems book. This is starting on page 13. The title is The Sun Doesn't Rise in the Summer. So let's begin. As the snow continued to fall, and the winds became so strong that they continuously swept me off my feet, I thought that the village was somewhere behind me, but in this storm I could barely see past my own arm's length. With my spear in hand, I turned around, then began to walk in the direction that I thought my village was in. As the snowstorm raged on, I could feel my whole body begin to burn from the cold. Just then I heard the sound of footsteps running across the snow-covered ground. I grabbed my spear and held it tightly as I began to thrust it forward in all directions. The sound of a yelp followed by howling as his spear is thrust through the chest of a nearby wolf. As I look at the wolf, the feeling of fright and happiness both overcome me. For I could now call myself a true hunter. The day was mine. All I had to do was bring my kill back to the village so that everyone may enjoy a meal. But first, how am I supposed to do that? Tayo thought to himself. Sorry, I've lost my space there for a second. For a while, as the storm began to subside. Oh, I've got it. I'll take my spear and tuck it underneath of the front legs of the wolf. Then I'll take my scarf and tie it to both ends and then around my waist. It might take me a while to get back, but at least the village will have something to eat tonight. The sound of a wolf pack howling in the distance. The smell of wet dog filled the air as a flash of gray and white erupted within my sight. The wolf whom I thought dead took its final bite, and as I felt it cut like a knife, I knew that this would be my last night. It feels warm as I lie here in the snow, blood-soaked with nowhere else to go. The sounds fade as my vision grays, a flash of light followed by a never-ending sight. Tayo, where did you go? The voices of three men scream in the distance. Excuse me, I need to clear my throat. As Tayo's body is found with persistence, lying in blood-coated snow with a wolf's bite still deep in his throat. One of the men cried out, "No!" Tayo, what was he thinking, leaving the village on his own? Dropping to his knees, he looks close and then sees my soul leaves, but not in peace. The number 3 keeps chasing me. I got one, but there's still 2. Look out. They're now after you. 2 wolves attack, and 1 survives. 3 boys drug down into their demise. 2 see black, and 1 sees white. The soul of Tayo sees the sight. Looking over himself, he sees a man on his knees. Taiyo thinks to himself, "Is that me? But where did the wolf go? We were both right here in the blood-coated snow." Next page. Taiyo looks to the left with nothing in sight. He looks to the right and is emblazed with light. He sees the wolf in front in fright. This is his never-ending sight. The man yells out while grasping his spear tightly, "Damn wolves, will the people of our village ever be safe from their savagery?" The spear is thrown and he hears a moan. In the disruptive fright, he runs through the night. The village was finally in sight, but now the man must rest, for in the morning he must go to a home in order to tell a mother what happened so that she may mourn. The village is quite calm and cold as the man walks through with the terrible news that he holds. Knocking on the door, tap, tap, tap. The news that he holds will soon unfold. The sound of a creak as the door opens. A woman stands in the door with her pale skin, and before the man can speak, she begins to cry out the name of her son, for she had a feeling of the news that was to come. The man says in a soft voice, "Io, we found him outside the village, and I was not able to recover his body. For that I am truly sorry." Io screamed, "No, my son," followed by yelling, "You bastard, why did you let him leave the village alone?" He begins to cry turning to try and say goodbye. Tears in his eyes, she stands with might, and her fist held tight, slapped him in the face. Slapped him in the face. He falls with disgrace. Walking away, the man began to say to himself and no one else, he was just like me, but instead trying to take 3. "I'm sorry, my boy, but you know that the wolves were no toy." The door is shut. Let us look inside to see the pain that they both hide. They hug each other and fall to their knees as the window is blown open by a strong breeze. Looking at her daughter with tears full of fright, she asked Akari if she knew what Taiyo was doing outside the village by himself. Akari says back he said that he was going to be a great hunter like father and bring back some food. Crying in her bed, a mother's mind wanders at night. "Why, Taiyo, you know that it's not safe outside the village, but you just refuse to listen, and now you have been taken in an instant." Taiyo's best friend is sitting at home thinking to himself because he doesn't yet know what happened. Natsu thinks to himself, "It has been 7 days since me and Taiyo got in a fight. Maybe I should apologize." 5 days ago, Taiyo was sitting in the snow making a new spear when his sister appeared. Akari says to Taiyo, "There you are. I've been looking for you." Next page. Akari walked over and sat down. The sun was high. It was about noon. Akari says in a voice that sounds stressed, making another one, you know that mother will never approve of you being a hunter. He stands up with his spear in hand, and as he walks away, it makes his sister mad. He walked through the village with a spear in hand, quietly saying to himself that they will never understand. Akari walked away with the fear for her brother's life, for she knew that he always liked to start fights. One he on his way home, she saw someone who was not unknown. Natsu, how are you? Can I talk with you about Taiyo? Natsu stood there with his sword at the ready and said, "What do you want, Akari? You're his sister. Why don't you go talk with him?" Akari then said, "I tried to talk with him, but he just walked away and said that I don't understand." Natsu began to laugh before saying, "Well, you don't understand." Akari looks down and with a distinctful tone in her voice, she asks, "Do you know what he's talking about? You're his best friend. Please, he won't listen to me or mother." Akari drops to the ground from the cold before saying, "Ever since father died, he has been obsessed with becoming a great hunter. But why, brother, when you know that the wolves killed father?" He swiftly placed his coat around her. Then he bent over and quietly spoke in her ear. "I will speak with him. Now go home. It's cold outside. But this is your coat. Won't you be cold?" He smiles and then helps her from her knees before taking his leave. She walked away, thinking out loud, "I wonder if Natsu can talk any sense into my brother. They have been best friends since we were all children." She saw her home in the distance, and she began to run with persistence. Through the snow she lost his coat. "Home is near. I have nothing to fear. I'm in the village, not outside. The wolves can't get me. The gate helps us hide. I see the door. I'm covered in snow. My skin is now purple. I just want to go home." She opens the door and says, "Mom, I'm home." "I'm sorry, but once again I couldn't convince Taiyo. He didn't listen." Just as always, her mother, Io, said, "Come sit and eat. Tonight we have stew with meat." As they ate at the small table with chairs of three, my mom looked sad before asking me, "Do you know where your brother is?" I said no, he got mad and walked away in the snow. Next page. Taiyo sits in front of a fire that he made, cooking his fish and using a spear as his dish. This abandoned house he treats as his special grounds. He lays down to rest for the night as the hoot of an owl gives him a fright. Tossing and turning, he falls asleep only to awaken to the sound of a creak. He swiftly jumps up with a spear in hand, and then realized he was imagining his dad. The sound of the night can be heard outside. It's hard to sleep as he constantly dreams. As Taiyo wakes up in the abandoned house, he stretches his arms into the air and then says to himself, "Well, I better start training if I want to be strong enough to be a hunter and kill a wolf." Covered in sweat, he finishes his push-up set. 198, 199, 200. Damn, that was harder than I thought. Dad must have been really strong. He could do it with one arm. He begins doing sit-ups. When he gets to 3, there's a knock on the door, so he gets up off the floor. Before he could get there, the door opened up. Natsu is standing there, covered in mud. He began to speak. His voice was soft but deep. "Looks like you're training hard again." Taiyo laughed before saying, "Of course I am. I must become stronger than my father if I am to protect the village like he did." Reaching out their arms, they embraced each other with love. Then Natsu said something that he shouldn't have. That's, that is why I'm here. You do know that your mother and sister are worried about you." Taiyo pushed Natsu away before saying with a voice full of anger and hate, "You don't think I'm strong enough, do you? I thought you were supposed to be more than my best friend. I thought you understood that you made me whole, but I must now walk this road alone." He turned his back and yelled out loud, "My father was the only one strong enough to protect the entire village. Now it is my turn. It must have the persistence. My strength will allow me to go any distance." Taiyo strikes out swiftly and near, but Natsu's sword blocks his spear. "I will become stronger than my father was. Calm down, Taiyo. I'm here because I thought we were in love." Taiyo thrusted his spear forward, trying to stab at Natsu, but Natsu moved out of the way. "Please, Taiyo, we are friends. I don't want to fight against you. Yes, we are friends, best friends. That is why I must prove to you how strong I can be. I'm my father's son. At my age, he defeated 3, but I've defeated none, and unlike some, I choose to not run." His spear slashes, hits true, and some of Natsu's blood drops on his shoe. Next page. Natsu looks down, then back at Taiyo before saying, "Fine, if that's how you want it, then I refuse to hold back." Taiyo then said while swinging his spear, "Just what I wanted to hear." The spear breaks in two as the sword swings through. Through the flesh, through the bone, Taiyo's pride is almost gone. He thrusts with 2, and 1 hits true in the face from cheek to ear. Natsu's eyes began to project fear, and then he spoke with words that would cut to hear. "Why do you keep acting like this? Your father would be disappointed if he could see you now." He dropped his sword and grabbed both pieces of spear, then struggled, fighting both, full of fear. "Don't you speak about my father like that. He would be amazed at how strong I am. Your father was strong. He protected this village. All you are doing is wanting to pillage. The wolves don't bother us here in our homes, so just don't go outside the gate alone." Natsu is almost overpowered as Taiyo tries to push through. Then Natsu said, "Fine, I'm done with you." Taiyo dropped to his knees as Natsu's words cut him deep. Natsu goes to walk away. At that moment, Taiyo says, "Hey, Natsu," walked away, but before he said, "Oh, I accidentally typed that twice. You will never eventually, or you will eventually get hurt if you don't stay out of your own head." He walked away full of gray. Now alone, he goes back home. In this house, Taiyo is on his knees crying, then about to leave. Taiyo returns home, announcing himself to his mother. She is asleep, quiet, and getting something to eat. The stew is in the pot. Be careful, the coals are still hot. It's time for sleep, but I want to leave home. Tomorrow I'll pack to live alone. Lying in the snow with nowhere to go, Taiyo is dead. Looking overhead, a man walks away after delivering the news. He is immediately filled with the blues. He thinks to himself words that cannot say as the skies begin to gray. He saw a friend down the road and waved at him while walking home. The wind is strong, the snow is cold, maybe I'm just getting old. He continued to cry because a young boy has died. His home is near, the door is here. He opens it up to see his son that he loves. "Father, is that you? How did the hunting trip go? Did you get any meat to go with dinner?" Natsu turned around, hearing his father's tears. He rushed to his father with a chair that was near. "Are you okay, father? Here, sit and have some stew." His father said, "Son, I need to talk with you." Natsu said, "Father, what's going on?" "Listen to me, son. Your friend Taiyo, he's gone." "This can't be true. Natsu, I'm here for you." Next page. Natsu dropped, then began to cry as his father got down and held him tight. Natsu pushed away before grabbing a bag. He left home, going to the abandoned throne. The snow falls and the night is filled with light from the white. He walked through the village and arrived at their throne alone. He walked in the abandoned house and sat down with his bag, thinking for a while and feeling as if he was truly now alone. Natsu grabbed a pen and paper, then began to write a note. "Drowning in depression, not knowing what to do. I feel completely lost and useless when I'm here without you. Every minute feels like days, and my mind is always clouded with a haze. I feel like if I were to succumb to death, then I would be released from this life that currently has no breath." Taking off his coat and tying it around his throat, he wrapped it around a ceiling beam, and then he began to dream. And that is the end of The Sun Doesn't Rise in the Summer. Thank you all. Like, subscribe, and share this story with someone that you think might enjoy it.